We are your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. This is Election Brief with me, Aisha Ibrahim. For the next half hour, we have updates on the most trending political stories in the country. Election Headquarters is brought to you by Petrosol, your clean fuel in full quantity. Election Headquarters for an informed electorate. Please do stay. Let's begin with the Center for Democratic Development that has expressed concerns over the economic ideas proposed by the two major political parties going into the 2024 general elections. A recent analysis by the CDD suggests that these ideas may struggle to produce desired outcomes, especially in the face of current governance challenges. We can now go on Zoom and speak to political scientist and governance expert. He's also a fellow of CDD Ghana, Dr. John Osei Kwapong, for more on this. Grateful for your time, Mr. Kwapong. Share with us the details that has informed this assertion by your outfit.
Okay, good afternoon. And if I may make one quick correction. The reference being made to is an opinion piece that I wrote in the Daily Graphic and for the CDD Ghana blog that I shared with one of your journalists today. So it's actually an opinion piece I wrote based on my analysis of the most recent performance of Ghana on the Democracy Index by the Economic Intelligence Unit. In which I make the argument that because of the signals that the report is showing, my analysis is showing in terms of some of the challenges that we are facing with our democracy, that for me, we would also, our two main parties especially, would have to make part of their campaign the issue of governance and the quality of our democracy. Because in the context of weak governance and weak institutions, the best economic ideas and the best economic programs would still face some challenges and still not yield the desired results.
What are the substantive ideas you believe will be the game changer?
Right. So, I mean, for example, on the NDC side, the former president has been talking about the 24-hour economy, the structure of incentives that will be offered to the private sector to get them to partner and participate in a 24-hour economy. I've expressed the opinion that if you look at how much Ghanaians rate the importance of job creation and their dissatisfaction with job creation over the 9 rounds of Afrobarometer, then it is an idea worth considering.
Right. So
those economic challenges. Right. But then also on the NPP side, you hear Dr. Bawumia also talk about the partnerships with the private sector, the offering of incentives to also get our economies, by energies going and creating jobs through digitalization. So again, those for me are ideas worthy of debate as we, the campaigns heat up. But I keep saying that once we can't focus exclusively on the economic issues without also addressing some of the substantive governance and quality of democracy issues that we are facing.
Let's look at your observations so far. Do you think the campaign messages from both major flag bearers for the major political parties resonates with the electorates, especially in terms of the economy?
I believe so. I mean, the 24-hour economy and how much the NDC is pushing that message, I believe is really resonating. I mean, Dr. Bawumia made reference to we can do this 24 hours already about 15 times in his speech, which means that it is also gaining attention of their main political rivals. On the other hand, he has also put out his own ideas around the things you can do about removing certain taxes, how you construct roads and bridges, how you engage the private sector to be more involved. And so again, I see also that message resonating with a section of the Ghanaian society. But ultimately, I think what this election will boil down to, beyond the economic messages and programs and other promises that the two main candidates offer, for me, it will boil down to which of the two candidates do you trust to be able to deliver? And I think that will be one key aspect of the decision-making calculus of Ghanaian voters.
What should be the key measuring tool in detecting which of the candidates you should trust?
I think voters would have to go back and look at, the records of the candidates whilst in office, the arguments they have put back, they have made, the evidence we have seen of some of those arguments, and then if you look at their pedigree, look at their timing, both of them have had time in office. Yes, one as president, one as vice president. But I think if you look at how they have conducted themselves in public office, it's one of the things that you can look at and say, I can trust person A better, or I can trust person B better to deliver on these things. And I think that would be very, very important.
Dr. John Osai Kwapong, grateful for your time. He's a political scientist and a CDD fellow in governance. Let's get on to other stories. The flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, John Dramani Mahama, is scheduled to lead a national policy dialogue to fine-tune his campaign promise of a 24-hour economy. A press statement indicates party leadership and the NDC Social Democracy Lab, a policy think tank, will be key participants in the dialogue scheduled for Thursday and Friday. Details of the implementation of a 24-hour economy seeking to create job opportunities for the youth are yet to be made public. Nanoye Bampo Ado is one of the people leading the dialogue, and she joins us via Zoom. I'm happy to see you. It's been a while. How are you doing? Kindly unmute for me. Kindly unmute for me.
Can you hear me now?
Great, I can hear you. So the deliberation on policies is coming ahead of the completion of the Building Ghana tour, which will inform policies, correct? Hello, Nana. Nana, I think your hand pressed the thing again. Can you unmute for me?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear. Go ahead.
You can hear me.
Great.
Yes, so flag bearer John Dramani Mahama went on a Listening Ghana tour, engaged with stakeholders, including organized labor, artisans, tertiary students, and sought from and elicited from them their proposals, the challenges they are going through, and also recommendations for the next government. So we've collated all these recommendations and proposals. And over the past 2.5 years, we've had a lot of consultation, and we've done a lot of work. And we have come up with proposals for the various relevant sectors of our economy, and also for purposes of our social development as a country. So over the next day, what our flag bearer is doing is engaging with 200 stakeholders, members from the party structures, members who belong to the social NDC think tank, and also ranking members in parliament and our minority caucus and our leadership in parliament. And what we're doing is that we are distilling and teasing out priority proposals to communicate to Ghanaians during this 2024 national elections slated for the 7th of December, 2024.
So aside the much talked about 24-hour economy, what other specifics will be considered?
We are looking at a minimum of 25 sectors, 3 broad thematic areas. So we're looking at governance, we're looking at policy proposals for security and intelligence, for local government, for justice delivery in Ghana, and also for governance generally. Then the second pillar is human development. So we're looking at proposals for health, proposals for jobs, because, according to the population census of 2020, 1.6 million Ghanaians are unemployed. And so we're looking at job creation directly linked with the 24-hour economy. We're also looking at health. We're looking also at finance and economy. We're looking at infrastructure because we have quite a number of abandoned projects. We're looking at the economy. We're looking at how we can revamp indigenous banking, our indigenous banking sector. Looking at agric and agribusiness. There's a lot happening in the cocoa sector. It's collapsed. BBC is more or less been sold off. And so we're looking at all these sectors. ICT, communications, what opportunities do they offer? And even the issue of climate change, natural resources. What are our policy proposals for that? Looking at sports, not just as entertainment, but as a business. And critically, the youth, majority of our population in terms of our in Ghana, a lot of them are unemployed. We have tertiary students who are unemployed. What do we do with the youth? What policy proposals do we have for the youth? And what are the cross-cutting issues across sectors, across health, across education, free SHS? What is our position on free SHS? So these are the many issues that we are deliberating on presently in the Eastern region.
Well, the dialogue we know started today and it's expected to end tomorrow. What should be the expectations from the deliberations in terms of outcome? Hello, Nana.
If I had the expectation.
Yes, what should the public expect from the...
What should Ghanaians expect? Yes, we want to create and come up with proposals that will solve the problems Ghana is currently facing in terms of our economy, the collapse of our economy. We want to come up with solutions, proposals for solutions and recommendations that will address our socio-economic circumstances. And may I add, our dire and sorry state, our socio-economic, and then also we want to see how we can address the state capture. Presently, we have a state capture by the NPP. How do we confront and address state capture by NPP? So we're looking at optimizing and distilling priority proposals, policy proposals that will rebuild Ghana, that will ensure that we have a lean, efficient, corrupt-free government come January 2025. So the messages we're going to sell to the youth of Ghana, the messages we're going to serve to Ghanaians on how we'll solve the economic challenges and the high cost of living that we're going through now. So this is what we're looking at.
Nanoye Bampoado, grateful for your time. We'll be monitoring this dialogue and also be asking questions of what the outcomes will become. Nanoye Bampoado, she is one of the leads of a national policy dialogue of the NDC. From the NDC, let's go to the NPP, because in a strategic move gearing up for the upcoming 2024 general elections, the new patriotic party has made a significant appointment within its ranks. The Manifesto Committee, chaired by Oseche Mensah Bonsu, comprises a diverse array of individuals across various sectors. The announcement came as part of a comprehensive effort by the party's flag bearer, Dr. Bawumia, to ensure a robust and well-articulated manifesto for the impending electoral contest. Let's take a look at who made the list. And right there, coming up on your screen, is Oseche Mensah Bonsu, who's supposed to be chairman of that committee, Kojo Nkrumah, vice chairman, and Everett Hughes is supposed to be secretary of that manifesto Committee. We also have Professor Kwekwa Piedu, who is coordinator, Dr. Isaac Owusu-Mensah, coordinator. If you're a political watcher, you know that Dr. Isaac Owusu-Mensah has been in the scene for quite some time, conducting a lot of research on political activities. Others who are part of the subcommittee chairs, Dr. Sibeya Boa, he is to chair the subcommittee on economy, Tony Otin JC on trade and industry, Kwejo Nsafua Poku, energy and petroleum, William Opon Bill, agriculture, Dr. Augustine Blay, communication and digitalization, and a host of others, including Hamid, Dr. Prince Hamid, who would also be on education. We've heard names of the host of them. Dr. Gideon Boako will be on the minerals and natural resources team. Dr. Emmanuel Mafo, science and technology. Maxwell Opoku-Agyemang, legal and governance. Justina Marigold, local governance. Kwabena Japan, housing and infrastructure. And there's more. Hassan Tampoli is with transport. Edward Asumeni, security. Michael Okwe Jr., foreign affairs. Asamoah Jan, youth and sports. Juliet Asante, tourism and culture. And those are the names. You have Amasewa, gender. Kofi Jamesi, chieftaincy and religious affairs. Dr. Uefriye, health. And Dr. Prince Ama, education. So what do these people bring on the table? I've been joined by Deputy Head of the Political Desk here at Joy News, Winston Amwa. Winston, let's start with the chairman and his deputy, Oseche Mensah Bonsu and Kojo Nkrumah. Well,
so Oseche Mensah Bonsu, you're looking at the former majority leader in Parliament. He's also been a minority leader. He's by training.
Winston Amwa is the deputy head of the political desk here at Joy News, and he was just making a point. There seemed to be a terrible connection. We'll try and get him back on, but you see these two, chairman and deputy chairman. Kojo Nkrumah has recently been reshuffled from information minister. He now goes to head the Works and Housing Ministry. Oseche Mensah Bonsu has been majority leader for over 12 years in Parliament. You just heard yesterday that he resigned from that position. Many say it's because he is going to head this manifesto committee. That's the reason he's been changed. Winston Amwa has joined me again. Winston, we lost you there. Make your point.
I was telling you that Oseche Mensah Bonsu, having been in Parliament for the past 27 years, going into his 28th year, he's a man who dealt with a lot of issues, okay? Now, at the forefront of it, he's been at the leadership since 2001. And so this is a man who actually knows Parliament, and this is a man who's actually dealt with a lot of bills. In fact, if you look at the Petroleum Revenue Management Act, for instance, at the time of Oseche Mensah Bonsu alone had over 100 amendments. He's a man who's gone through lots of documents and so understands where we find ourselves as a people. Now, you cannot lead government business without having a lot of expertise. And so I think that in choosing Oseche Mensah Bonsu, you're choosing somebody who comes off board with lots of expertise. Apart from his formal education where he was trained in planning, he's been a businessman. He's operated from Swami Magazine, for instance. And so if you want a man who can actually appeal to a majority of Ghanaians and those who are engaged in business, those who are engaged in retail, those who are engaged in spare parts, and you saw the NPP government, you saw Dr. Bamia, for instance, in indicating his vision, telling you about what he intends to do for spare parts dealers, by way of a flat rate for a container. All of these things, if you put them together, areas that you expect Oseche Mensah Bonsu to come and influence. Of course, he's going to be the chairman. There are other members in the committee, and I'm sure we'll talk about them shortly. They also come on board with a lot of expertise. Kojo Nkrumah is vice chairman, and Kojo Nkrumah, apart from being a broadcaster, is also a lawyer. He's also a marketing professional. He's also an accountant. And so he comes on board also with all of these expertise, and also being a member of Parliament. The good thing about being a member of Parliament, particularly if you partake in the dealings of Parliament, is that you have a man who sees lots of documents. You have a man who deals with people, and you're a man who can actually identify with the needs of the people, Aisha.
You have people like Dr. Otinjesi. We all know he's a guru in what he does. That's the natural resources, mine. He used to be former Chamber of Mines boss. You have Gideon Boako, who's been spokesperson for Dr. Baumia over the period. You have people like Asamoah Gyan. If you talk about sports, you know that he's paid his dues. I mean, all of these people, what do do they bring?
Well, I mean, you talked about Dr. Otinjesi, and Dr. Otinjesi having been AGI president. Now, Dr. Otinjesi, last year we played, a lecture from him. We said that was one of the best speeches of 2023 when he spoke about, Ghana's natural resource area. And so he owns a cable company, and we know what that means, for instance. So if you bring in, for instance, Dr. Otinjesi, you're bringing in a man who understands industry and a man who understands trade. So you can actually see, what I'm beginning to see, what you can read from all of this is that, so I'll use, for instance, Juliet Asante. Juliet Asante, who's currently, I think, the National Film Authority, or the National Film Authority. Now, Juliet Asante is supposed to be in charge of the creative arts. You have Asamoah Gyan, who's supposed to be in charge of sports. I'll get to Asamoah Gyan, but I'll just use these three in other sectors. And so you have Marcus Ibeyabwa, who's supposed to be in the economy. What you can deduce from all of this is that the NPP, in announcing their team, have decided to put in place persons who have expertise in the various sectors, persons who are players in the various sectors, and having been players in the various sectors, are better placed to understand the needs of the sector, and will be better placed to proffer solutions, be better placed to engage sector players, because once you're within a sector, one, you know the need, and also your colleagues will be able to engage you, because you also will be proffering solutions here and there, things that you believe should be done for you. For instance, Dr. Marcus Ibeyabwa has been chairman of the Finance Committee in Parliament. Dr. Marcus Ibeyabwa is a finance person. He would be better placed to actually tell what should be done in the Ghanaian economy. He's a researcher. He's been a lecturer before. And so he's somebody who would be able to look at our current economic situation. In fact, there are a lot of people who expected him to be made finance minister following, the reshuffling of Ken Ofori-Atta, for instance. Then you look at the Asamoah Gyan situation, because it's one of the situations a lot of people have talked about. Yes. What is sports in Ghana? Sports in Ghana is mostly been seen as football, which is wrong. And so in Asamoah Gyan, a former Black Stars player, you want him to come on board, yes, because today people are talking about it. Black Stars, people are talking about our performances at the African, competitions. You want Asamoah Gyan to come on board and say, this is how we intend to achieve it. But the challenge, however, is that sports should not only be about football. And so what else would Asamoah Gyan bring on board? Of course, he's going to be the chairperson of the subcommittee. I'm sure there'll be other members there who will come in with diverse backgrounds. We don't know those members yet, and I also think that there will be engagement. But of course, even having Asamoah Gyan also does another thing, which many of us are not looking at. So in bringing the former captain of the Black Stars, hate him or love him, but he's the leading goal scorer. He's a record goal scorer for Ghana. He's been a record, a goal scorer when it comes to Africa at the World Cup. So he's somebody who also comes in with a lot of likability, even though some people would disagree. But of course, that face in itself tells you of a party that is looking at shaping or transforming one of the most important sectors of our sport, that's football.
Winston, there are some two key people, who themselves contested Dr. Baumia. I'm talking about Engineer Kwabena Agyapong and Kwadwo Nsafo-Apoku. Now, Kwadwo Apoku didn't get the nod to actually get there, but of course, this gentleman, Kwabena Agyapong, he contested him, and they're all finding themselves on this committee.
I mean, if you look at the Kwadwo Apoku, position, for instance, actually, you speak to him all the time, don't you, when it comes to issues of energy. And so if you speak to him on issues of energy, you listen to him and you want solutions to the problems we have within an energy sector, then I think it will be important to have such a person joining your team. And as I indicated earlier, this is only a way of showing that for the persons that you believe have solutions to our problems, let them come and tell us how we can solve those problems. And one of those persons within the media space, for instance, is Kojo Poku. And so I am not surprised. I'm sure the surprise for many people would actually be that why don't you have, the current energy minister or any of his deputies on? But you ask a similar question and say, how many ministers do you have on? Somebody would argue, oh, but you see Hassan Tampoli, yes, but how many ministers do you have on? You see Marigold, who's supposed to be in charge of local government, who's currently a regional minister. But hey, if you want to look at energy and energy issues, one of the voices you hear consistently is Kojo Poku. And so I don't see anything wrong with having Kojo Poku on, such a committee.
Wesley Namwa is deputy head of the Joy News political desk, and we've been making some analysis. There's more of those that analysis on myjoyonline.com. You can log on and see more for yourself. And to the Ghana Police Service, it is assuring Ghanaians of a peaceful election come December 7. In a speech read on his behalf at the passing out ceremony of 187 police recruits at the Ahafo Kenya State Police Training School, the Inspector General of Police, George Akufo-Dampare, said the police service, with the support of other security services, such as the military, fire, immigration, prisons, among others, will ensure a safe environment before, during, and after the election. COP NSO Usu, Director General of Technical, spoke on behalf of the IGP.
We would like to assure members of the public that the police service, with the support of assistant security services, are putting adequate measures in place to provide a secured environment for the general and parliamentary elections to take place without any security breaches. In advance, you should know that you are passing out at a time that Ghana will be organizing general elections at the end of the year. Hence the need to caution you that in order to live up to the public trust and expectation, you must enforce the security laws governing the elections fairly with utmost respect for citizens' human rights.
At Aveno Railway in Accra say they are disappointed by the performance of the Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration. Hence, they will consider other alternatives in the 2024 elections. Others, however, believe the government's flagship free SHS policy is enough reason to retain the NPP.
Mekrano nkamesemento ba bibintim ba meto yeah. Said I pay my papa, penny papa, or den, ababa, ama near den, abba form, Nanyama boy, Nabi Biacoso, Yasramo, Yedico to joke for me, Yasramo pa, Momoe, now you to neble, city, a crowd, baby Abacobia, a crowd, and you can say you to neble.
And I don't know, oh, on to me, Soriano pa, and Kakuku, and on to me, Soriano pen, Yisi Cambechichamo, Biao. Debbie, into Musumble Mobi.
Your mama penna the channel, or no, my baby abba form. 2012, 1 2 a royal, 1,002, 1,002, Nana, they say royal, Kobusa royal, a cover 10,000. So what I say, what are you in Pocrano? I feel any marketing to be on, Nana, Esremo, NPP, Esremo, Abai, Esremo, Montetania Maso, near you to no sentiment Toby. It's a mumbia Juma, my yen yet. Yes, Jumano Swa, Yakopel under the soil, we say, they say, I buy no one, ye be from I better you to say, I want to hear.
And I do why be pa, why be. What the share, Yantu and infant baby, will be Honoma now for we need Sikakra or the day, or the coach and the bus school fees. Fred Cation Abba, a money public bray at me every SHS. Because first na din say SHS will be call. Nti say nipa adwene pa woni trim ana nipa odwene o man ho etimi ye saadi we e de mani pa. Na say wotimi se nipa no adwene pa ye de e woni trim.
And that's your election brief on Joy News, election headquarters for an informed electorate. Do enjoy the rest of our programs.